Hello, everyone. It is Nancy Matthews here, and I'm here with a special broadcast today, bringing on one of our longtime members of Women's Prosperity Network, a woman who is near and dear to my heart, as well as to the hearts of all of you. I do know that. And I brought Gail on today because she recently launched National Claim Your Voice Day. And I wanted her to come on and share a little bit about it. So, Gail, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Nancy.
I am, I get goosebumps when I think about the power of people claiming their voice and specifically claiming their voice for good.
Absolutely.
And share a little bit about how this came about for you. Like, why and how is this your cause?
Well, it came about because I began to be really disheartened and discouraged by how the common dialogue out there is so negative. You know, research says that we hear between 20 and 30,000 words every day, and 50% of those words are negative.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, think about the impact of hearing 15 to 25,000 negative words every day. Is it any wonder that people are angry and hurting and in pain?
Yeah, yeah. And when we think about it is Mental Health Awareness Month, there's a lot of pressing issues happening in our country specifically right now. And like you said, it's no wonder that there's so much challenge, anxiety, and stress. Like I think about, 20 to 30,000 words a day, half of them are negative. It's like somebody's pouring black stuff on me.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. And, so for me, because I believe that language is really a sacred gift to the human race. It is
Mm,
the sacred thing that sets us apart, our ability to communicate and connect, sets us apart from other created creatures. And so when we misuse that sacred gift and we use it to divide and destroy and demean, we use it to express fear and anger and hatred instead of for all of the good things it could be used for creativity and connection and love, we're misusing something very sacred.
yeah, for
And
sure.
I just needed to be the person who stood up and said, wait a minute, we need to use language and listening to heal the world, not harm it.
Mm.
And so I'm going to do something about it.
I love it. I love it. And on May 20th, Gail is hosting an online event. Let me see if I can go ahead. There we go. The information about the event is running across the bottom of your screen now. So join us for this event because here's what comes to mind for me is how do we claim our voice? How do we, speak with positive words, use language of the heart, and we'll talk about that in a moment. When we're feeling angry, frustrated, upset, like that's part of the reason I think we hear so much negativity is the level of angst that people are experiencing. So how do we shift it to be voices for good rather than just voices that highlight what's not good?
Well, two things I think we do. First is we get quiet and we start with listening, listening to ourselves and listening with our hearts to hear what's underneath the negative language that we're hearing.
Very good.
And, I don't think people wake up in the morning saying, let me see how negative, nasty, and hurtful I can be. I don't think that happens. I think that people come at it that way because they are responding to what's coming at them.
Yeah.
And so we break the pattern. We break the cycle long enough to pause. And in the pause, we get quiet, we go inside, and we listen to our own hearts.
Mm.
And then when we can hear our hearts, then we begin to speak. When we can name it to ourselves, then we begin to frame it and put that voice out in the world, figure out who needs to hear it. What's the language that will make it understood? What's the intent that we need to get behind? And
Yeah.
then we really claim it and stake a claim and say, here it is. Here's my truth. Here's what I know. Here's what I believe. And here's how it serves.
Beautiful. And when we can learn to listen first to our hearts instead of just emotionally responding, right, with frustration, anger, or something like that, then we're able to, I love the process that you teach. And on May 20th at the event, Gail is going to guide us all through this process. When we can learn to do that, now our language can be used to effect positive change for what we do want to experience. That's for the good of all, right?
Exactly.
It's really about coming into that space of connecting us through what we all want rather than just focusing on what we all don't want.
Right. And, I think, Nancy, that sometimes when I talk about claiming your voice for good, people think I'm talking about being a Gandhi or a Martin Luther King or a big game changer. And I absolutely want to support the people who have that in them and are called to do that. But we speak with the heart's voice and claim our voice in a single conversation.
Mm.
We claim it first when we speak to ourselves, about our value, our self-worth, our sacred purpose. When we speak to ourselves and say, I am this, I know this, and this is what my life means.
Mm.
And then if we only have that conversation and live into that conversation in the world, we are changing the world. And if we take the circle wider and we have that conversation with our children, our partners, our families, we take it wider. We take it into the community. We take it onto the global stage.
Mm-hmm.
We take it to an arena, a group of people. But the first conversation, the critical conversation,
It's right here.
is the conversation we have in our own hearts.
Yeah. And when our hearts are hurting, it's not always easy to recognize that. And getting tools to be able to clean off. Oops, it's 11:11 here. Sorry about that.
Sacred timing.
Sacred timing for sure. When we have strategies and tools to help us, number one, recognize that my heart is hurting, and then my language is going to be a reflection of that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we, heal our hearts first, seeking understanding of ourselves and others? Like there's hope, there's possibility for all of us to come out of this. And I am personally so grateful for your stand in the world to give us this space to come and claim our voice.
Well, and I'm grateful to have you as part of the cohort of speakers for that day, and somebody who has listened to my heart's voice and helped it find its expression.
Yeah. And vice versa, my friend, because when you get into a community or a communal space of everyone speaking from the heart's voice, like think about, I'm going to go here for a moment. Think about an angry mob. One person says something, then someone goes, oh yeah. Now let's reverse that. And one person says something beautiful and inspiring, and one person says something that lifts. That's the space that Gail has created.
Right. And so part of claiming your heart's voice is refusing to be an echo of a voice that doesn't come from the heart.
Ooh, tweetable moment. That was really good. Really good. Oh, I love it. All right. So, this is just a little sampling of what's available to you when you join us on May 20th, an online event from 12 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And tell us about what that experience is going to look like. I know you've got some other extraordinary leaders joining
I
us.
do. I have folks who have claimed their voice in all kinds of exciting and interesting ways. Debbie Montgomery Johnson, the woman behind the smile, who talks about being scammed online for $1 million,
A lot of money.
falling for that as an intelligent, brilliant, educated woman, and what that meant, and having to come out and tell that story.
Mhm.
And Sammy Blindell, who is one of the awakening giants, who has founded the One Drop movement, where she talks about each of us is one drop, and together we're the ocean. And with you talking about the one philosophy, and we're all coming together, and we'll talk about each piece of the name it, frame it, and claim it process to discovering your voice for good. And folks will have a chance to hear the stories of our speakers in terms of how they've done that, how they've claimed their voice, including when it was hard and when they couldn't hear it and what they did.
I got some stories around that.
Yeah. And then we'll break out into breakout rooms so that participants can explore that question for themselves. Where are you in the journey? What's being hard for you? What might be a next step? And then come back together and share what we've learned in the breakout groups. And, it's really a chance for people to begin that exploration, for people who've begun the exploration but don't know where to take the next steps, and for people who just need support, people who've already taken the risk to be out there claiming their voice, and maybe they're encountering the haters. Now that you've staked your claim, maybe they're encountering the haters. Maybe they're encountering the moments of feeling like imposters. Maybe they're encountering the moments of saying, what's next? Or I'm terrified to take the next step. So we'll talk through all of that in the breakout groups, and have an opportunity to participate. Our VIP members will have an opportunity to participate in a workshop the following week with more individualized attention through that process. And I'd be remiss if I let us finish today without saying that, to me, one of the things about claiming your heart's voice is understanding that the voice of reciprocity and the voice of giving back is part of speaking from the heart. And so the proceeds from this event will go to benefit the Peace Through Participation Foundation. A young woman by the name of Abigail Grace Garland founded this foundation when she was 7 years old. She's now 13.
Wow.
She and her parents, TR and Ann Garland, put this together, and they focus on fostering the self-worth and self-esteem of children of every race, region, and religion around the world. They do amazing things. Eye clinics in developing countries, at an annual conference, and other kinds of support. And I really wanted to highlight this foundation because here's a place where a young woman is already using her voice to make ripples of impact all over the world. And she's grown from being the person who sat on the stage with her dad saying, this is why, this foundation, to the person who's standing up there doing the speaking.
Yeah.
And it's so watching her claim her voice over the years has been a really heart-touching journey
Yeah.
for me. And I think, the great example of you find and share your voice where it most needs to be heard.
Beautiful. And your voice does need to be heard. So join us on May 20th. We need you to be part of this ripple, the echo of voices for good in the world. So be sure, get your ticket, go to claimyourvoiceday.com and you go for the VIP, get the bonus session with Gail, and we'll see you there. We need your voice. Gail, thank you so much for following your heart and this mission.
Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. I look forward to our conversation next week.
Yes, yes, yes. Around the corner. All right, everyone. Get out there, share your voice for good, speak from the heart, and join us on May the 20th. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye, everyone.
Bye.